Hello, I'm Paul Bucciarelli from the Lawrence County Regional Chamber of Commerce, and welcome to today's edition of Chamber Chat. Today's Chamber Chat is sponsored by Michael Joseph and State Farm Insurance, and today we're pleased to have Angie Urban from New Visions for Lawrence County. Hi, Angie, and welcome to Chamber Chat.
Thanks, Paul.
Angie, maybe we can start by having you share a bit about yourself and tell us about the New Visions organization and how you became involved.
Sure. Well, I am a transplant to Lawrence County. I graduated from high school from Butler,
Okay.
And then graduated from Penn State University.
Yes.
Went to work at Walt Disney World for an internship for a semester after I graduated, which was a lot of fun. 4-month vacation.
Did you have to wear the costumes?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, I did wear a costume, but not one that you would think of.
Okay.
I then did a year with AmeriCorps and Triple C and traveled all over the country doing different projects with AmeriCorps. And then during that course of time, my parents had moved to New Wilmington. My dad is the chaplain up at Westminster College now.
Oh.
And so I moved into their basement and thought I would be here for a year and then anywhere but here when I had it all figured out. And here we are 15 years later. I'm calling Lawrence County home, Newcastle home.
Great.
But I started my work in Newcastle with the Lawrence County Community Action Partnership,
Okay.
and then jumped to CRAE Youth and Family Services when I started having conversations with Dave Copper, who was the director of CRAE at the time. He had been pouring resources and love into children and families who were struggling in this community for decades. And kind of the realization for Dave and for CRAE that the more and more resources that they put into helping children and families wasn't changing the trajectory of our community, with the hopes that less and less families would need their resources. And so he said, we have to do things differently. We have to look at the underlying reasons as to why these families are struggling in our community. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where New Visions birthed out of, was this conversation that we believed Superman didn't exist, and that we needed to be part of the change and to be the change that we wanted to see happen so that our community had hope for future generations.
So Angie, as I understand, New Visions is a grassroots-based organization. And I know I volunteered several times on cleanup days and planting flowers. What are the goals and missions of New Visions?
Yeah, New Visions exists to make positive change in our community and to engage volunteers and community partners to make that happen. We certainly have a public realm where we get people involved in beautification efforts, in hosting summer concert series, in hosting the holiday season activities. But we also have kind of a different side that oftentimes the public doesn't see, where we're trying to make space for long-term planning and long-term strategies. And really at the core of what we do is trying to think about how the actions and the decisions and the structure that we're putting in place today will affect this community 5 years, 10 years, 50 years down the road. And hopefully we're helping set up that the conditions and the structure so that our community can continue to move in
a lot of short-term positive actions that result in some long-term improvement, mm-hmm. especially to those who need it the most.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm sure that the pandemic impacted the work of New Visions. For example, I know that last year the Holidays Parade didn't happen and the ice rink wasn't able to occur. Will those things be back for 2021?
Yeah, the pandemic certainly had an impact on what we did last year. We were still able to plant flowers and to host several cleanups. And the holiday parade took the form of a shoebox parade, virtual shoebox parade.
Tell our audience about Shoebox Parade and what that is.
It is an outside of the box idea. We partnered with the Hoyt Center for the Arts to have community members and organizations still submit a float, but the size of a shoebox. Okay. And then we had a painted backdrop and pulled them all across and still got to celebrate Newcastle and many of the assets of Newcastle. Also hosted a drive-in fireworks display show at during the holiday time last year. Okay. This year we are hopefully gearing up for the holiday parade again, and fireworks and a tree lighting ceremony, light up night, all of those great things.
I think people will really welcome that coming back, mm-hmm. because I know that your most visible efforts are typically have been around the beautification. Are there other mm-hmm. events that are occurring that you could share with us today?
Yeah, we have hosted lots of beautification events. We also, beautification is our intent to help the city look better. We want it to feel inviting and welcoming and open for business when people drive downtown. And so we try to help support the public works crew and pay attention to the little details and clip hedges where needed, pick up trash when we see it, and paint. This past week, we painted fire hydrants.
I see that.
So beautification is one element. The hosting events that bring foot traffic downtown is another piece of New Vision's. The summer concert series is happening right now. The summer concert series, we've discovered Jeff Fiola, who is an amazing asset for and talent for Newcastle. He's from here originally, moved away to New York City and worked on Broadway, and has come back. The pandemic brought him back to this area, and he has made a commitment to bring entertainment and life to the community. And so we pulled him into the concert series, and he has certainly taken it to the next level. We have almost every Friday night through the end of August a different band scheduled in the park. There are typically intermission acts, there are typically food trucks, there are always 50-50 raffles that support everything that we're doing, and just a great time downtown on a Friday night. We do beautification, we do the summer concerts and the holiday season in order to bring foot traffic downtown. But we also are trying to share a message of hope, that things can be different here, that people can be part of the change, and that there's potential, a lot of potential here.
So a lot of collaboration between folks in town. And I know that I attended that very first summer concert a few weeks ago with the Durrells, and I think people were just thrilled to be able to be back together in an environment like that. So I commend you and Jeff for that happening as well. What motivates you to do such great work, and what do you enjoy most about your job?
Sure. My job has, I don't know if I consider it a job even, right? It's a mission, it's a service to the community. It's something that allows me to be creative, to think outside the box, and to do things that have never been done but here before. And I find a lot of joy in that. I love creating a community and being part of reimagining our community for future generations. I now have 2 young boys, and so to be part of creating a community so that my kids will have great memories of growing up here, as well as go out and experience the world, but always consider this their hometown, and want to come back to Newcastle and to Lawrence County. I think that my joy for this job is in the creativity of it, and the ability to help make our community be something great.
I think we have a lot of great assets in our community, and it's wonderful to see the enthusiasm that you bring to it. So you mentioned on your website about hoping to create positive change. In what ways have you seen that positive change occur, Angie?
Sure. Well, sometimes I think that Newcastle is its own biggest enemy.
I understand that.
There are people who have lived here for decades who have experienced the loss of things, of industry, of jobs, of everything over decades. And so I understand the frustration, and perhaps even the belief that things can't be different because they haven't seen it. Sure. But I also see an influx of people who believe that things can be different. And, one of my favorite things to do when the Confluence first opened was to sit inside the doors and watch people come in for the first time, and their jaws would drop. Yes. And they would say, wow, this is in Newcastle. And then to work at the ice skating rink, the outdoor ice skating rink is another example. I would be working down there, and people would come for the first time from the whole region. We had people from Ohio. We had people who had grown up here, moved to Texas, and were back home for the holidays that would come. And again, their mouths would kind of drop, and they would say, wow, I can't believe this is in Newcastle. And so those moments, I think, are justification. I think that Newcastle maybe doesn't believe that they're worthy of high quality things, but when you present the opportunities and you put them in front of people, they're proud of them.
Right. And I know that myself, I've had friends come in from out of town, and sometimes they're shocked to see how much there really is here, and how pretty it is in many cases, and how we enjoy a high quality of life here. So some of that, I think, is the work you're doing helps reinforce that as well.
Yeah, I think that, there's been and not just in Newcastle, right? But there is this mentality of scarcity, a belief that there's not enough resources, that there's not enough to go around, that, you know, we're kind of at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to receiving. And, you know, I don't think that's the case.
I
you know,
agree.
it's hard to see the abundance of what we do have when you're mentally thinking that there's not enough. So there are great assets, there are great
Absolutely.
people, there are great things happening here, and to bring those, raise those to the top, I think is part of what our intent is to do.
Sure, it's all about making that positive change and reinforcing that message, and making sure that we all work together and collaborate.
Yeah, and finding, you know, I'm a staff person of one, so our ability to get anything done is our ability to find others who are passionate about this community and see the potential, and who are willing to step out outside of their comfort zone maybe, and to step up and help be part of the change. And the more that we find those people and those community partners, I think, you know, our core belief with New Visions is that it's a collective impact. There's not a superwoman, there's not a superman that's coming in to fix things. It's only by all of us coming together and each lending you know, the gifts and the talents and the resources that we have in a very selfless way, right? What's best for the community, and how do we move things forward for the community?
So Angie, I think it's a good segue to say, if I want to get involved with New Visions, how do I go about doing that?
Sure. New Visions has a pretty active Facebook page, so there's lots of events and activities going on that you can find there. We do have a website, newvisionslc.org, that you can find some information. Our email address here is a great way to get in contact with me. I love to sit down and have coffee with people who have ideas about how to move things forward. Those ideas sometimes get stored in the back of my head, and when timing is right or partnerships are right, they resurface and maybe have the ability to come to fruition. Or, you know, we're hosting an event, just show up. Just show up, enjoy the concerts.
Simple as that.
Just show up to help plant some flowers. You know, even take it upon yourself. Look around in your neighborhood. Look around where you spend most of your time, and what could be done there to make things better. And don't wait on somebody else or point a finger at somebody else who should be doing it. Step up and do it. Make it happen and be the change. I
agree. Well, Angie, thank you so much for sharing some of your time today with our audience. Absolutely. I know I've enjoyed learning more about New Visions. And so on behalf of myself and our viewers, I want to thank you for the passion and the efforts that you bring to improve our community. So thank you so much. And thanks to our viewers as well. And I hope to see you for the next Chamber Chat video very soon.